Would you please pray with me? Let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, our rock and our redeemer. Amen. We're going to do some drawing. Let me set up my stuff here for one moment. I hope you noticed I said let the words of our mouths, which means you get to participate. I can feel the excitement in the room when I say those words. It's palpable. Yes, we get to participate. This is probably going to feel like a council meeting for you council people. I couldn't bring the whiteboards in here, so I had to use these things and dress them up a little bit. Oh man, he's using the boards again. We'll try black and see if black works here off the bat. All right, let's talk about people. Let's talk about healthy people. Do you know any healthy people in your lives? Chris, that was fast. Perfect. I was hoping that someone would be so bold. So Chris has volunteered himself. Let's throw up some characteristics, some words of healthy people, of Chris. Healthy people here. Let me write that at the top here. And no tough words that are tough to spell. My spelling is not very good. The council laughs at me when I do that. All right. Some words that describe healthy people? Giving. Good. That's a good one. Caring. Yes, that's also good. I don't mean like running healthy people, just like the healthy people. What else? Faithful people. Yes. Faithful. What else? Forgiving. Can you see that in the back? No, that's why you sit closer to the front, so you can see better. Ha ha ha, got all you back people this morning. Helpful. Loving. I heard another one over here too. We'll go. This one says something over here. Supportive. What else? Kind. Humble. I like that one a lot. That's a good one. Like my whiteboard here, humble. Grateful. Uh-oh. Is it Grate? Most of the time when I write words that are misspelled, a little squiggly comes underneath them to let me know that I misspelled it. I don't see any squiggly there. Accepting. See, this is why I brought 3 markers. This one's on its way out. I'm assuming you mean accepting. What was that one again? Belief. Believe, yeah. Did we have believing up here? We have faithful. We could put believing up too. That's good, yeah. Yes. That's a good one. Engaging. I heard like 2 at the same time. Sympathetic. What was the one in the back there? Respect. I like that one. Did you say sympathetic? Sympathetic. Happy. Yes, that's a good one. A couple more. We'll fill up the board. Say it again. Generous. Well, we put giving. How about that's pretty close to giving. Generous and giving. Friendly. Friendly. Thoughtful, I heard back there. How about like 2 more? Patient. And trustworthy, I heard for our last one. That's pretty good. All right, so we described Chris. That was good. If you want to know about Chris, there he is right there. We've just described him to a T. We can talk to Beth later to see how accurate that might be. I think the 10 eye rules I saw there maybe describe that pretty well. She was thinking pathetic when we wrote sympathetic. Okay, so we described healthy people and what healthy people looks like, we would say. How about unhealthy people? Does anyone want to volunteer to be the unhealthy model? A couple of Chris, good. So again, we'll describe Chris here. So there's a catechetical book, a catechism book that we used for a little while, and it had like these two pictures. And on one page it said it had a picture of a saint, and on the other picture it had a picture of a sinner. It was the same picture, which I thought was always good. So maybe healthy people and unhealthy people be the same for both sides. But if we were going to describe characteristics of unhealthy people, what kind of stuff would we say? Negative. I heard that one first. Negative, judgmental, self-centered. What was that one back here? Pessimistic. Pessimistic. That may or may not be right. You English teachers can say that one again? Greedy, yes. Yes. Greedy. What else? Lazy. Too busy, yeah. Angry. Hateful. Does someone say sad? Bad. Yes. Unhealthy people are bad. Jealous. That's a good one. Say again? Help me out, people. Say it louder. What else? Unhealthy people. Neglectful. Yeah, that's a good one. Complain. I heard vengeful too. I like complain. It was more, got my ear better. Vengeful. Maybe it may not be the E there. Perfect. Everybody say it one time. What was that one again? A braggart, yes. Oh, sure, that one's a tough one to spell. You can see my handwriting starts breaking down after a while, too. Maybe like 2 or 3 more for unhealthy people. Selfish. Cheating. Cheaters, yeah. What else? What was that one? Lying, yeah. I'll write this. All right. Can't spell that word. Where would you put words like brokenhearted? Unhealthy? How about words like weeping? Both? We'll put weeping on both then. troubled. Troubled over. All right, here's my ultimate one. Self-sufficient. You say unhealthy. As good Americans, shouldn't we say, I guess of course we're not all Americans here, but self-sufficient. That's exactly the way we ought to be. That's as definitive as healthy as you can get. We, as faith people, will write unhealthy or self-sufficient like this. Self-sufficient. And we'll hyphenate over here like that. Let's talk a little bit. So what do you see in these couple lists? I guess there's just a whole lot to see there. Let's look at the psalm for a minute that we read responsibly together. And thinking about healthy and unhealthy people, and especially about this word of self-sufficiency. I was reading a book this week that talked about personality, a certain personality type, and it talked about America as this personality type, and about how self-sufficient and having everything working towards certain goals and always getting there and being goal-oriented is so important to this personality type. And so I was thinking about self-sufficiency and how healthy or unhealthy self-sufficiency is. And so as we were reading through these words earlier this week, the very first words that caught my eye were in verse 17 of the psalm, where it said, "The righteous cry." And how oxymoronic that seems for us. Because we would put righteous over here under healthy people. And I think a lot of us would tend to put, if we're weeping or crying, which we did kind of put over here, our first gut instinct is to put that under unhealthy. The righteous cry. And at the end of verse 17, it says that the righteous, the Lord hears them and delivers them from all their troubles. So if we're troubled, that is not a word I'd put with the righteous, the healthy people either. If you have troubles, that's an unhealthy person. We even wrote troubled, unhealthy. Broken-hearted, we wrote over here on unhealthy. But the righteous in the psalm here are the ones that are broken-hearted and whose spirits are crushed. Many are the troubles, in verse 19, many are the troubles of the righteous, the healthy. Evil will bring death to the wicked, and those who hate the righteous will be punished. You redeem the life of your servants, and you will put their trust. Those who put their trust in you will not be punished. Do you see this different sort of way in which the Scriptures understands troubles and weeping and being brokenhearted, and some of these things we may call unhealthy, maybe not a lot of them, but these things that culturally we don't want to be in places like of trouble or uncomfortability or weeping or grief or loss but it seems like in the Scriptures, those are the times that God calls righteous moments. Or Ephesians. I mean, we heard this long sort of passage about putting on the armor of God. The language doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us probably here in Aliquippa because we're not ones that go around with helmets and belts and shields and stuff like that very frequently. But you catch the drift here. But none of the images that are used there are actual military things. They're all about God's gifts to us. The armor of God, like the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith, and the helmet of salvation and the sword of Spirit. Why would you even need any of that stuff? Well, it's because trouble happens. I mean, so again, the word that all these passages, all these healthy and unhealthy people, it comes down to self-sufficiency. And we want to put self-sufficiency over on this healthy people, or this unhealthy, self-sufficiency, we want to put on the healthy people side. But is it that good to be self-sufficient? These passages and the Scriptures in general all point to people who are absolutely reliant on God, be broken on God, be giving themselves to God. That's when we find we're the most healthy. Healthy people are not self-sufficient. They're God-reliant. So here are these words from the psalm again, starting with the 17th verse. The righteous cry. The Lord hears them and delivers them from their troubles. The Lord is near to to the brokenhearted and saves those whose spirits are crushed. Many are the troubles of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them from every one. God will keep safe all their bones. Not one of them shall be broken. Now, obviously, when we hear these words, we all know that when trouble happens, when our spirits are crushed, when we are brokenhearted, often God doesn't just come in and say, "Oh, you're fixed, all better." Right? For Joanne in the hospital right now, God's not going to come in today when she prays maybe these words from the Psalm and say, "God, deliver me from my brokenheartedness and this trouble that's inside of me." And God's not just going to come in and say, "Done, fixed." I mean, maybe God will. God can do those kinds of things. But the reality is, these moments of brokenheartedness, these moments of being crushed with our spirits, these moments of trouble, rather invite us into this God who walks with us, who loves us, who cares for us. It pushes us into a community of people that gather around us and support us, demonstrating God's love for us. Self-sufficiency is not the way. Perhaps being troubled, weeping, being brokenhearted is the way to being a healthy person, a reliant on God sort of person. I encourage you to continue thinking about what it means to be a healthy person and an unhealthy person in your daily lives. And may you pray that God would help you to realize what it means to be healthy. Amen.